Hello everybody, it's Linda, and I am back to share some tips and some thoughts before we start doing the mixed media collage that I have promised a tutorial on, or process video on. So remember, I am not an expert on any of this. Okay, this is just something that I do as a hobby and that I enjoy doing. And if I can inspire you to try some techniques that you haven't tried before, or expand your horizons, do some mixed media, have some fun, get messy, and enjoy yourself, then my mission is accomplished. So don't think that I'm not claiming to have invented the techniques. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I just want to share how I do things. I want to share my thoughts on the process, and I want to share with you what I think is important and what I think is not that important. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on the materials and the stuff that I use, like the tools and stuff, and my thoughts on composition, then just continue to watch this video. If you're not interested in my thoughts on composition or the sprays and paints and stuff, then don't look at this. Just skip the whole thing and just come back when my process video is done and have a look at that if you're interested, because this is not a tutorial. This is just me talking about what I think is important and not important about making a piece like this. Hello everybody, it's Linda. So just so that you know what you're getting yourself into. So to you beginners, how do you go about when you want to create a collage or a mixed media page, a journal page, art journal, ATC, whatever, as long as we're dealing with mixed media and images, collage images. First of all, you need to know what background you want to use. Okay, for this piece, I used craft cardstock. Look how messy it is on the back, but who gives up? So this means when you use this kind of paper, it is going to be buckling a little. As you can see, this is not like completely flat and straight, but if you want to frame your piece, that normally won't matter because you'll have glass or something, pressing your piece down flat. So today I am going to use some watercolor cardstock or paper, and this is a little more heavyweight, and because it's watercolor paper, it can take the sprays and inks and water and paints a little bit better than your normal cardstock. But I have to say, this is basil cardstock, and it handled the paint and everything really, really well. So you can also, of course, use canvas board, or you can use normal regular canvas for your piece, or you can use any kind of paper and stuff that you want. If you're using like very thin paper, it might be an idea to Mod Podge or glue two pieces of paper together just to make it more sturdy. But what is more important is how you treat your background, because if you just start spraying onto your paper and without doing anything to it beforehand, if you start rubbing, you will see like pieces of the paper just peeling off, which can be really cool, but you need to know what you're after. Okay, so with this paper, I want a black sort of starting background for my piece today, so I'm going to paint it black. And yeah, you can use black gesso if you have black gesso, but use black ordinary acrylic paint if you don't have it. And I am not really concerned with which type of paper you use, what brand you use, what brand of paint or gesso or mediums or brushes or scissors. I mean, who cares? As long as it works for you And if it doesn't work for you, then try another brand. And, you know, use your what can I say, use your wallet to decide. You know, there are like expensive brands like Golden, for example. They're really, you know, highly priced, or, you know, expensive. And if money is not an issue, go ahead, buy Golden. You'll be pretty safe with Golden. But if money is an issue, you know, go to your local store and just pick up some acrylic paint, even if it's like hobby paint. Because if it's an art journal or something that you don't want to last for years and years and years, it doesn't really matter, does it? And anyway, a collage like this will just, you know, age with coolness, if you know what I mean. Look at this. It's so many messy colors in here that if something fades and something doesn't, it will probably just end up looking even cooler. Okay? So yeah, if you want to, you aspire to be like a full-blown artist, then, you know, maybe you should invest in more expensive stuff that can, you know, take the light better without fading and things like that. If this is just for fun, like it is for me, then use what you have. Like I always say, use what you have, okay, guys? And if you don't have sprays, make your own sprays. Just take one of your old spray bottles with like a pump thing on them and just fill them with paint and water and, you know, experiment. Oftentimes you will find that your custom made sprays are way cooler than the ones that you can buy anyways. And you can have just as much fun with cheap paint as expensive paints. Sorry, you guys who think you need to have like the top-notch stuff. You don't. I have had so much fun with my cheap paints and everything. And I have had so much fun with my cheap glues. I have had a lot of fun with Golden glues and paints too. You know, it's not that. But I mean, don't worry, okay? Use what you have. Don't be afraid to experiment. And do not expect to get 100% result every time and the first time. Let me talk a little bit about what images I will be using. For the next piece that I'm making, I have bought collage images from Itkupili, and I will put the link to that address below just so that you can go and check them out. There is no need to buy these images to make a great collage. You can find free collage images online so many places, like Magic Moonlight Free Images has got great collage images. And also, if you go to Flickr, you can join groups on flickr.com, and I will just put a link to Flickr below, because Flickr has got like an immense amount of free images in any kinds of styles and everything that you can look through and you can pick and you can download to your computer and you can print yourself. And okay, so you're saying you don't have a printer. Well, I'm sure you have an old magazine, or maybe you have a secondhand store that you can buy a magazine with some cool images in and just use that. You know, copyright, it's not important as long as you're not selling your piece. If you're just doing it, you know, for your own amusement, then, or to hang on your own wall and not charge anybody money or claim that it's yours, you know, you've invented the images, then just use them. Use some from a magazine, whatever. So, and about glue, for my piece I am mostly going to use a glue that's in this jar. Can you see that it is a bit runny, this glue? Okay, it's a bit hard to show you, but it's a soft glue and it's sort of a gel medium. You can use any kind of gel medium. I know that in America a lot of you have this Mod Podge brand. I think it's quite affordable, and you can use that. The thing that you want to know is if it dries glossy or if it dries matte. Because if you want your piece to dry matte with a matte finish and no gloss, then you need a matte gel. If you don't mind gloss, I don't mind to have some gloss on this, so I'm going to use a gel that is not completely matte, that's got a little bit of a gloss to it. So use what you have. If you are using images that are printed on a little bit of a heavyweight paper, then you might need a heavy glue. And a heavier glue is like, what is it called? Let me see. It's called like a heavy gel. And a heavy gel medium looks like this, you know. So that might make it easier for you to attach your images or glue them down, collage them. I will be using some die cuts, and if you don't have a die cutting machine and you don't have die cuts, you know, there are people on eBay and Etsy that will sell you just die cuts, you know, not the cutting machine or the dies, but just regular cardstock die cuts. So they are also quite affordable, and that is just if you're dying to get your hands on some some die cuts. And I think also Michael's and Joann's has got, you know, die cuts, and a lot of brands, paper brands, they have die cuts, like what do you call them? K & Company have got some great die cuts for their collections, and Kaisercraft has got die cuts. There are so many brands out there, and you know, a lot of times I get questions that if you just type your question to Google, you know, the search machine online, type in your question, write it down in the Google search bar and press search, and you'll get the answers you need. Okay, because a lot of times when we do videos and stuff, we don't have time to answer all questions. And I know sometimes you're really desperate to get an answer, but just Google it. Guys, we got a great tool out there. It's called Google. Try it. It works so many times. I have used it millions of times to find what I need, images or whatever. And also I will be using stamps. And you know, if you use red rubber or you use acrylic stamps, whatever kind of stamps you use, if you use your homemade carved stamps, they can be really cool. And if there is anything I'm talking about that you don't know what is, just Google it, okay? And yeah, so I'll be using some stamps. I'll be using masks. If you don't have masks but you have die cuts, you can use your die cuts as masks before you glue them down as regular die cuts. And what else do I need to tell you? Yeah, so also some of you might have a question about a texture paste or modeling paste. So there are so many different texture and modeling pastes. You can get them very lightweight, you can get heavy modeling paste, you can get very thick, you can get with like this modeling paste here, it's got sand in it, and you can make your own. There are recipes, I think here on YouTube actually, for making your own modeling paste. And you can use spackle, I think it's called, the stuff that you use when you do building or painting or things like that, house stuff. And you'll find that in a hardware store, I think. So again, what I say is that, you know, use what you have. Don't be afraid. Don't think that, oh, your piece won't be good because of you don't have the right label stuff, like scissors. Use the scissors you have, okay? And which sprays? I am using dilutions. I'm using Lindy's Stamp Gang. I am using Tattered Angels. I'm also using color wash. You know, I use what I have as long as it's a color I like. And if I don't have the color I like, I'll mix it myself. So that's the sprays. And yeah, what kind of brush? Well, if you're going to glue your stuff down and you want to use a brush, then try and get one with short hairs, and one that you're not afraid to use. Look at my messy brush. I've been using it for years, and it's good when it's short, because then you can apply some pressure and Mod Podge or glue down your collage images to your paper well. And if you don't have brush, use your fingers. I use my fingers. Look at my fingers, my horrible fingers. They are mixed media fingers at the moment. So, but they work really well. And a lot of times they work much better than brushes. So if you don't have, and you can't find, and you want a brush with short, just cut a long one, okay? Make it easy on yourself. So, because what I actually think is so much more important for your end result than which images, which paints, which sprays, which glues, which stamps, which whatever you're going to use, is really composition, placement. How do you put your piece together? That's what's going to be important. If you're going for a really surreal look, like this is a bit surreal, okay? Because, it's not natural to have a wing coming out of a gear. Like, so this is like not a natural contraption. And, there are elements to this that are really surreal, like the fish swimming here. So what is it? Is it a fish that can fly, or is all this happening underwater? That might be, because there are like blues and, the colors of water here. So, yeah. So you need to know, what are you after? Do you want your piece to look natural? Then, and in proportion, because then if you want to have like a little girl playing with a bird, and the bird is a sparrow, then, your sparrow that you print out, or the image of the sparrow, can't be like the size of the girl, because then it's going to look weird. If you're going for weird, then that's great. Then use a huge sparrow and a little girl, or whatever, But that's what you need to think about. You need to think about the proportions of the pieces that you glue down, because if you want it to look natural, then you have to think what looks natural in real life. Okay, if you're going for a more surreal look and steampunkish look like I've done, then natural doesn't apply really. Then you can combine your images just the way you want. And I like that. That gives me freedom to play with this, with stuff, and it provokes the mind a little when you look at things that aren't just, taken out of nature, though nature is wonderful and beautiful and everything. And, playing with it can be rather fun too. So, apart from proportions, you are back to placement, okay? Because even though I'm going for a surreal look here, I didn't just slap down the wing. I love the wing. It's beautiful. But I didn't just put it on my piece and let it hang there like it's growing out of nothing, because I didn't want that. I wanted to look like it was part of a machine here. Okay, so I attached the gear to the wing, and then a number of other gears up here, and they sort of attached to this behind here, and the bird is sitting on it, and it goes up to this. So you see it goes like circles down here, and the circle is behind this, so it's sort of attached here. And this building grows up from this clock here, and you have more gears, so there's some kind of a connection here with this machine stuff. And it goes down to this circle and the fish, and the fish has got a man writing on it back here, and you have some lines here to tie things together. Okay, and what I see sometimes, you wonder how you're going to make things work, and you want to use, this is a water tap. This is a stamp actually that I've just, stamped on some paper and glued on, I think. But I didn't just, leave it there, I attached it to the side because that makes you more comfortable when you look at it. Okay, and it's like a sticker. You might have a very nice sticker that you want to use, but and it looks nice when you're holding it, and then you put it down somewhere, and oops, something's just wrong about it. But that might be because it's just floating in thin air, you know, instead of being attached to some kind of contraption or some piece, some part of your work. So what is not working on this? I can tell you, I hate the fact that this here frame stuff here is crooked. Because I like things to be, flowy and crooked and whatever, but must be on purpose. This is not happened on purpose. This is just me not being totally focused when I did this. So I would have loved for this to be straight here, because then the angles will be better, because this bottom line here can be crooked, but the straight parts will be compared to the bottom line here by your eyes. Okay, so you will see that, oh, it's widening, and there is no good reason for it to do that, and that's why I don't like it. Okay, and what else is, I would have loved to had a connection between my fish and this edge here. I don't have to, because the fish is swimming in this strange ocean here, so it doesn't need to be, but I would have liked it. If I didn't have this, then I would have liked if I would have, attached this part here to here, whatever, to just get it from that, sort of flows into the canvas, or what, the paper, from somewhere. I want things to come from something, to not just end up here sort of by accident. I want to have the feeling that it's growing from something, or coming in from somewhere, or going to a place. If it's not a bird or a fish or a butterfly, because birds and fish and butterflies and insects and bugs and stuff, they can, just appear places like people can and stuff. But if it's a machine, or if it's a building, or if it's a tree, or some flowers or whatever, they, what's normal for us is that they grow from something. And unless it's a point for you that it's just supposed to appear, boom, out of nowhere, then try to make it grow from somewhere, or try to make it come in from some other place. And also, if you don't show the entire piece, like for example this clock here, that shows you that probably the other half of the clock is like invisible out here somewhere. Okay, so that makes your brain, or might make your brain, start to think, okay, so if this clock goes out here, then there's probably more down here too, and that can, inspire your mind to create an even bigger universe out of this. And like this tap, okay, so here's the tap, what's behind here, that would be nice to figure out. And things like that, that's things that I like, elements that I like. And here I have a leaf, and that leaf, it's just falling, it's just falling past the girl here, but it's still attached to the frame, and to the background, and it's not just free floating like, like nothing else. It looks like it's part of the piece, in my opinion anyway. And I am not calling myself an expert. I'm probably talking as if I think that I have the answers to everything, but I'm just trying to share my experience, or my opinions, on how to compose something. And you know, your eye needs something to follow. If it's color, if it's a line, if it is the elements on your page, whatever, it needs somewhere to travel, you know, so that it doesn't just stop somewhere. Because if you put a thing that is totally out of place and unnatural, slap it down here, for example, then your eye will get caught on it and will hang there, and it will miss the rest of the piece, if you know what I mean. It will just, you know, because that stuff down here is so out of place that it takes all the attention from the rest of the piece. So you need to know that you need to try and make the whole thing come together. Sometimes what you need is a color, sometimes you need an extra image, sometimes you just need a line, you know, a piece of washi tape, whatever, to get it all to come together. And yeah, so that's what I want to say about the materials that I'm going to use and the composition and the thoughts behind it. And once you know, when I made this, I did not sit down and draw a sketch. I did not plan anything. I just had these cool images, and I had some more than what you can see here, and I wanted to use them. And I just wanted to play. So this tutorial is meant to inspire you to play yourself. It is not meant for you to just downright copy, because a lot of you won't have the same things or images or whatever that I have, and I don't want you to just run and buy them for nothing. I want you to be inspired, and hopefully I will manage to inspire you by sharing some of the techniques and sharing the process of making my collage, which will not end up looking like this, because I hate repeating myself, okay? So I want to make something brand new, and I want to play, and I want to have fun together with you, okay? So enough talking, and let's just get started.